I'm a dad, and this happened last fall with my son, Eli. He was 9 at the time, quiet, bright, the kind of kid who followed rules even when nobody was watching. He liked school. That is important because it's the reason I listened the first time he said something felt wrong. It started on a Monday. Eli came home quieter than usual, not upset exactly, just off. He picked at his dinner and kept looking toward the hallway, like he was expecting someone to be there. I asked him what was wrong and he shrugged. Nothing. My wife asked how school was and he said, fine. Then right before bed, while I was helping him put clean sheets on his bed, he said, Dad, is it weird if a teacher knows where you live? I laughed a little at first because I thought he meant in a normal school records way. I said, teachers usually know your address is on file. Why? He looked down and said, no, like, she told me she knows which blue house is ours. I asked who. Mrs. Norwood. She was his new reading teacher, mid-30s maybe, soft voice, very calm. I'd only met her once at open house. She seemed normal. I told him maybe she had seen us at pickup or driving through the neighborhood. He didn't argue, but he still looked uneasy. On Tuesday, he came out of school fast, which wasn't like him. Usually he took forever because he had to tell me every small thing that happened. That day he got into the car and shut the door hard. I asked what happened. He said, Mrs. Norwood asked if my bedroom still faces the street. I felt a small, cold drop in my stomach. I kept my voice even and asked what exactly she said. He told me she had bent down by his desk while the class was doing independent reading and quietly said, You're in the front room, right? I remember the star stickers in your window. That was true. He had glow-in-the-dark stars stuck all over the inside of his bedroom window. I asked him if he ever told her that. He said no. At dinner I told my wife and she said maybe Eli had mentioned it without remembering. That was possible. Kids talk. Teachers remember strange details. Still, I emailed the school just to ask if Mrs. Norwood had done a home visit or some neighborhood outreach thing. The principal wrote back the next morning. No, she had not. Wednesday was when I stopped explaining it away. That afternoon, Eli asked if he could do homework in the kitchen instead of his room. I said sure. About 20 minutes later, I noticed he kept glancing at the front of the house. I asked him what he was doing. He said very quietly, That car has been there since I got home. I went to the window without making it obvious. There was a dark sedan parked across the street, not directly in front of our house, but angled enough that whoever was inside had a clear view of our front windows. I couldn't see the driver well through the windshield glare. I opened the front door and stepped onto the porch. The car pulled away almost immediately. That alone doesn't prove anything. People park, people turn around. But when I got back inside, Eli said, That's the car she drives. I asked how he knew. He said, I saw her get out of it at school. Thursday morning, I walked him into the building myself. Mrs. Norwood was in the hallway outside her classroom. She smiled when she saw us. Same calm face I remembered. Eli's doing much better with reading confidence, she told me. He just needs consistency at home. Then she looked at Eli and said, You should tell your dad you don't need the hallway light on anymore. I felt Eli press against my side. We had never told the school about that. Eli had started leaving the hallway light on at night after a bad storm that summer. It was a little thing, private, the kind of thing only family would know. I asked her, How would you know that? She paused for maybe half a second. Then she smiled again and said, Children share more than parents realize. It was such a smooth answer that if I hadn't already been bothered, maybe I would have accepted it. I didn't. I told the principal I wanted a meeting that day. The meeting happened after school. The principal was there, a counselor was there, and Mrs. Norwood sat across from us with her hands folded neatly in her lap. She denied anything inappropriate, said Eli was imaginative, said she tried to build trust with anxious students by noticing details about their lives. Then she said something I still think about. She looked at my son and said, Eli and I understand each other, don't we? Not your son, not the student. Eli. Like she was talking about someone who belonged partly to her. The principal moved Eli out of her class.